Hey, Meghann Scully, and this is the Limerick Post show. Coming up in today's show, the big interview is with Anna's anchor. First up, though, the top stories in Limerick, and Fridays for Future March took place last week, and we headed along to see what exactly was going on. So, can you tell us about Fridays for Futures here?
Look, it's great to see kids doing this, and they have embarrassed the adults, I think, a lot of us have been interested in climate change for a long time, but it hasn't taken the traction it should. It is the number one issue now for people, and we need to make sure that what changes we do, and we have to do them as quick as possible, but we have to make sure that people are able to do it, and we need to make sure that people who already suffer fuel poverty and that aren't the ones who are affected. We need to go after the big polluters, and we need to make sure that, in legislation that we have passed through the Dáil, like for instance about fracking, is more robust than it has been. And look, I commend the kids for what they've done. It's great to see them here, and I'm sure they'll be at this for a long time,
What do you think we can do as people of Limerick City and County to help this?
Well, first of all, we need to make sure that all our politicians are actually not just talking about climate change, but will actually do stuff that means introducing measures, for instance, retrofitting homes, making sure electric cars if we do change to electric cars, that people can actually afford to buy them. Transition, I know a lot of people bought diesel cars in the past that were told it was the best thing to do. Suddenly it's not the best thing to do, so it's unfair on them to be left behind. There's a lot of people already struggling with fuel poverty. We have people who die in this country every single year because they can't afford to heat themselves. So it's the carbon tax, I think, is really, really unfair way we've done it, and it's the big polluters we should be going after. And I would urge all the parties to focus on the big polluters. They're the ones who are causing the crisis. They're the ones who are making profit out of this. And a lot of us need to change things we do as well. We all can make small, simple changes, but it's direction from government and the big companies that will solve this. It won't be always all just not using plastic bottles anymore. But it's all important to be all their own a little bit as well.
Mark, thanks so much for chatting to the Limerick Post show.
No bother, you're welcome.
Next up, Mayor Michael Sheehan, along with Minister John Paul Phelan, launched the advisory group for the directly elected mayor, and Arkeen went along.
I am honoured and pleased to be with you today at what is the start, what is undoubtedly a new era for local government, not just here in Limerick City and County, but throughout the whole country. Limerick has been at the front of innovation and change in local government over the past decade. We became the first local authority to be merged with another in 2014, and since then the delivery of local government services has changed undeniably. In Limerick, we have always been a people who've embraced change. We see it as a good thing, but caution that we must make sure that it cannot let anyone behind. We have used change and innovation down through the years to turn the fortunes of our city and county around. Since amalgamation, there has been a series of changes in structure and procedure throughout Limerick City and County Council, all faced head on and worked through cooperatively despite some apprehension. We have come out the stronger for it and better able to adapt. Limerick has blazed the trail for local government, and with this new implementation group, Limerick is ready to lead the pack again.
Now to our Out and About section, and coming up, we chatted about Christmas in Limerick to see what events are happening. First up, though, the Midwest Simon Sleep Out took place in Thomond Park last weekend, and Keane chatted to Munster rugby player Dan Goggin all about the event.
So the sign in the background there, we're at Thomond Park Stadium. Could you tell us about the event that's happening tonight?
Yeah, we're at the Midwest Simon annual Sleep Out, and it's held here in Thomond Park. There's a nice number of people, about 50 or 60 people here. We started the night off with a kicking competition out on the pitch. It was a bit cold, but people enjoyed it. And we had 3 winners. We'd a winner for the men's, we'd a winner for the ladies and the kids. And then we came inside, we just listened to Jason and Rachel and heard their story. People are now down in the conference room, they're having a bit of food. People are mingling, chatting to each other. It's been a nice event so far, and then it's cold out tonight. People are going to start settling down into the sleeping bag soon and try to bear the conditions.
So the interview we just heard put stuff in perspective. So does the coldness outside, sleeping in.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll definitely never be able to imagine what sleeping outside and being homeless is until you actually have to experience it. And I'm sure people that are experiencing it tonight, they still even won't see the extent of how hard and tough it is to be homeless, but just sleeping out in this kind of cold, that it's definitely not an easy thing to do, and like Jason and Rachel said, you feel like you're at the bottom when you actually have to do it. So yeah, it puts things into perspective completely when you actually have to sit down and do it yourself.
And I'm joined by Aoife Potter-Cogan, and as you can see, we are moving around Limerick City because we're going to talk about Christmas in Limerick. So tell us about this train first of all.
Oh, so this is Toots the Train, and it's his second year in Limerick, and basically he's running on a Friday, a Saturday and a Sunday here from the city centre, and he's hitting off all the really gorgeous spots of Limerick and the great things about it. So heading up O'Connell Street, under all the Christmas lights, down around by the river, over by the King John's Castle. So if you really want to get a feel of Christmas in Limerick, this is definitely how you start your shopping trip.
I think this is so special as well for everyone. And also we have to talk about the Urban Garden, of course, which there's a lot of stuff going on. So can you tell us a bit more about that?
So in the space in the Urban Garden, Matthew Stevens have their Santa cabin, and that's for a charity. And that's open at the weekend. So you've got music, performers, Santa Claus visits. It's really gorgeous, and a great photo op as well. We also have a sleigh in the Urban Garden this year, which is super. So again, another selfie opportunity while you're grabbing that cup of coffee in between Pennies and Brown Thomas. And then Toots the Train starts and leaves from the Urban Garden. So lots going on there, and there's lovely benches and seating going in today, which we're delighted about. So that's great.
It's going to look so special. Now, one thing we really have to mention is parking in Limerick and for the Christmas.
Yes. So did you know that Limerick has some of the cheapest parking in the country?
Yay!
So Limerick parking is €1 an hour. So you have over 3,500 parking spaces. So there is no excuse not to come into Limerick City. Also, the Park and Stride is starting today, and that's from Cleeve's factory. And there's also park and ride opportunities. And all the details for that are on limerick.ie.
Absolutely amazing. So what else can we expect from Limerick this Christmas?
Well, when you said that you wanted to have a chat about this, I was thinking about the things that I like to do, and I was looking at what we have in our brochure, and I think a lovely thing to do is your afternoon tea. And loads of the hotels in Limerick this year are doing special Christmas afternoon teas, and I actually did it myself with my nieces recently, where we had a proper tea party with the Christmas tree, and they just loved it. So there's loads of opportunities for that, and that information is in our brilliant brochure, if it doesn't jump off the train out of my hand. Then in addition to that, there's loads of gigs going on, but one of the things that I'm really looking forward to is the 8 days of Christmas at the Milk Market. That's a real authentic Christmas market, and that will be happening in the last week of December, right up to your Christmas Eve. So really great way to kind of get your last minute Christmas presents, your food, your stuffing, all your lovely chutneys and things for those finishing touches to your Christmas dinner.
I have to say, I think the Milk Market is amazing. So I feel like my mouth here is just drooling thinking about it all. Now, one special event, of course, we want to mention is New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. So this year we have a fireworks display for New Year's Eve. It's very much family orientated. So it's about getting those New Year's Eve celebrations started at 7 o'clock. So the idea is come in, see the fireworks, have something to eat with your kids. Then maybe they might want to go home and you might want to stay out and continue the celebrations here in the city. So great way to kind of see 1 year out and start the new year.
Aoife, thank you so much for chatting to the Limerick Post Show, and I think it's time we enjoy the rest of this train journey around the city.
I know, if we don't bounce off it.
Thank you. So we're here in the record room below the commercial, and I'm joined by Marty Ryan, aka Anna's Anchor. How are you getting on?
Not too bad. How are you keeping, Meghann?
I'm very well, thank you. Now, first things first, Anna's Anchor. Tell me about that name.
So I guess it's a little bit of a weird one because it's obviously a band name and a lot of the songs sound like a full band, but I suppose it originally did start as a solo project where it was just myself. And the actual name itself came from, I'm from Anacotti originally. We were just talking about off camera. And my favourite song at the time was Anchor by a band called Oscar. So I just chopped off the Cotty, slapped them together. And luckily it wasn't taken, like there wasn't another Anna's Anchor out there. And the URL was free, which is actually important. Like, it's really hard to come up with a band name that isn't taken. Like, you could honestly think of the most obscure thing in the world and there's already 10 other bands with the same name. So that was kind of how it came together anyway, name wise at least.
It's nice to go back to your, I suppose, your roots and where you were from. You're not from, you're not in Nannycotty anymore. So tell me where you are now.
Yeah, we've been living out in Ballinacurra now for the last few years, a little bit closer to the city, which is nice, yeah.
I don't think Ballinanker would work with it.
Oh God, yeah, it sounds like you're entering swear word territory there.
So tell us now about the music, because I saw you live in Dolan's and you were supporting Hudson Taylor only recently. So for those who haven't heard Anna's Anchor yet, what can they expect?
Well, I suppose it depends on which show they go to, because that was solo, let's say. So, like, most of the time it is solo, and I do tour predominantly solo, even though the show that we have coming up this week in the commercial, that's a full band affair, and we do play full band every once in a while, kind of whenever the occasion is appropriate, I guess. So if it's on my own, it's usually... I do tell a lot of stories, I guess. It's like almost half storytelling, half playing songs, because... I suppose I find like with just one person acoustic guitar is like very limited as to what you could do. So when I first started out, I was like trying to think, how can I do a little bit different? So I do talk an awful lot when it's a solo thing. So I guess that's like, at least I'm attempting to try and make it like a little more of an intimate affair by doing that. And then when it's full band, like those are just, that's like way totally different. It's like completely different world. It's like, you know, big loud songs, I guess. And it's usually... Like anytime we've toured full band, it's been around like the release of an album or something where we've kind of been able to justify touring full band.
Yeah.
And for me personally, that's always been like the most rewarding thing, and it's been like such a special occasion, especially when you have people that have been coming to see, let's say myself, play solo for like, it's going on like 5 years now, and then I suppose we all get to experience the songs, how they're meant to sound, then on this like one kind of rare occasion. So it feels really special for me. So yeah, those are the kind of two worlds when it comes to the live setting, I guess.
Unreal. Now, I know Dermot Kennedy always tells stories before all of his songs, so he's had great success. But I was at the Hudson Taylor gig, and I remember your last song, you had told a very poignant story about the song that you wrote for a friend. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so that was about my friend Kev, who unfortunately passed away 2.5 years ago. Actually, Dr. Kevin Hayes, because after he passed away, some of his cohort actually finished out his PhD or his PhD project from, which is amazing. And we even had Michael D. Higgins actually unveil a plaque in his name out in UL. But Kev actually passed away from sudden adult death syndrome 2.5 years ago. That particular song, I guess, I'll try and summarise it as quickly as possible. It's called For the Parish, and Kev was a bit of a gas man, and everything was for the parish. When we were in first year, first starting out playing hurling, Kev was like fairly stocky lad, like he was a sizable fella. He played at the time, and he played full back, and I just remember like a big ball came in over the top, and he hit a young fella absolute belt of a shoulder while he was screaming for the parish. And from then on, when we were in the school, just everything was for the parish. It was like his catchphrase. And after he passed away, like naturally I was, you know, heartbroken. And I suppose the true extent of, I suppose, the grief didn't necessarily occur to me until a tiny while later, and I was on tour in America at the time, which was kind of, it was very strange, because on one side it definitely was a dream come true to be touring in America, and like I'm ridiculously fortunate and privileged to have been able to do that, but at the same time I was like really not in the right frame of mind, and it was hard being so far away from home. And for the majority of that tour actually was on my own as well, just like driving for like 13 hours every day, just completely on my own. So that probably added to the whole thing. But anyway, the very end of the tour, I was playing a festival in Gainesville in Florida, and I just like was trying to come up with something to cheer myself up. So I said I'd get a tattoo in Kev's honor. So like For the Parish seemed to be the most appropriate appropriate tattoo to get. So I said I'd get a tattoo in his honor, For the Parish, but that's a lot of letters. So I just abbreviated it, FTP, and put it on my ankle. And then I was telling this story to drummer from the only other Irish band playing that festival, and he's from Belfast. Butler is his name, band called Apartments. And then Butler was like, Marty, I'm sorry to like interrupt your beautiful story and everything, and I'm so sorry for your friend, but FTP, where I'm from, is not For the Parish, it's Fuck the Pope. So I guess I probably should have asked you, like, can I swear on this? But you can bleep it out anyway. People No. So, yeah, I have that tattooed on my ankle now, and I suppose I can never wear shorts around Belfast ever again anyway.
Oh my gosh, I actually, now that you say it, I do remember you telling the story. And up for the parish, obviously, then is like, it's, as I said, like, it sounds like it's such a cool phrase as well. Because, like, you know, we always say it as well, because I'm from a small parish.
Yeah,
So it's always
and exactly. Kev was from out the country, I guess, but like Culshy coming into school kind of fairly close to the city, so he was like really embracing his inner Culshy. So like, yeah, absolutely everything was for the parish. Yeah,
I absolutely love that story, and I remember you telling the night. I thought it was so good. Now, do tell us, of course, we did say you are playing here on Friday night, and it's a full band. So tell us about that.
Saturday night, if I'm correct.
Saturday,
December the 7th. So we're playing full band in here in the record room in the commercial, a fantastic venue, and we are playing full band. One of only 2 occasions this year that we played full band, and it's an aid of Limerick Suicide Watch. So for the last 4 years, we've done a show every Christmas for Limerick Suicide Watch, and tried our best to do as much fundraising for them as possible down through the years. So that's what's happening this Christmas. And we also have Hey Rusty, who's supporting, playing full band for the first time as well. There's a guy called John Ahern, and he's just like an incredible songwriter, and it's his first time playing full band, so that's going to be fantastic. We also have Kaylee O'Brien opening up as well, so it's like all Limerick lineup. Everything, all the money made on the night is going to a Limerick charity, and just around Christmas time, so I think it'll be a really fun one. And there's not too many tickets left, but there is still tickets left, and you can get them on annasanchor.com if you so please. And again, all of that money is going all to Limerick Suicide Watch, so
Absolutely incredible. Now you are going to perform for us in a little while solo, but before we let you go, where can we find you on social media?
Literally everywhere. Like I said, luckily Anna's Anchor isn't taken already, so if you just punch that in anywhere, and do have a website, it's www.annasanchor.com, and that's where you can get all the information. It's very handy having a website when you're emailing people, because you can just send one link and it's
all there.
Yeah, there you go.
Tell us, what are you going to perform for us and why?
I have to think about that there now. I'll probably play a song called People's Park, which is a new one actually, and I've been doing a bit of a mad project over the last 17 weeks now, where I've been doing a podcast where I'm interviewing a different person from a different county every week, and I'm also writing and recording a new song every week.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been actually very stressful. It's like everything in life has been difficult since I started this, but it's been great crack. So this is one of those songs, and I guess it's like kind of appropriate. Yeah.
Marty, aka Anna's Anchor, thank you so much for trying to Limerick Post Show.
Thank you so much for having me. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks, Meghann.
The street from the People's Park are the Georgian houses, and rust red brick goes underground, hiding all its caverns, and offices have taken their place beneath the footpath shadows. That's where I climbed out of that mountain of sorrow. Can only do our best, given the consequence. We don't owe anything. Can only do our best, given the consequence. We don't owe anything. best, given a consequence. We don't owe anything. Can only do our best, given a consequence. We don't owe anything.
For these stories and so much more, head over to limerickpost.ie/show. I'm Meghann Scully. This is the Limerick Post Show, keeping Limerick posted.